What happens when Marvel brings together a group of broken assassins, disgraced soldiers, and dangerous operatives, and gives them a mission they were never meant to survive? That is the setup of Thunderbolts 2025, directed by Jake Schreier. Beneath the action and espionage, the film is really about trauma, depression, grief, and people who have spent their lives believing they are too damaged to be saved. The story begins with Yelena Belova, and she is already struggling to find a reason to keep going. Yelena, a former Black Widow trained in the Red Room, now works as a contract operative for Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, the acting director of the CIA. Since the death of her sister, Natasha Romanoff, Yelena has felt numb. She keeps accepting dangerous missions because staying busy is easier than facing her grief. Her opening mission takes her to Malaysia. She infiltrates a facility, eliminates the guards, and destroys evidence connected to OXE, a company secretly involved in illegal supersoldier experiments. She completes the job, but there is no satisfaction in it. She simply moves on. Meanwhile, Valentina is facing impeachment. Bucky Barnes, now a congressman and no longer operating as the Winter Soldier, has been building a case against her. He believes she is hiding illegal weapons research and secret operations behind the CIA. Valentina publicly dismisses the accusations. Privately, she is worried. She orders her people to erase every remaining connection between her and the illegal program. One of those people is Yelena. Before Yelena can finish her work, she stops to visit her father, Alexei Shostakov, the former Soviet super soldier known as Red Guardian. Alexei now runs a limousine business and spends much of his time remembering his old glory days. Yelena admits that she is tired of working for Valentina and wants to leave. Alexei encourages her to find her own path, instead of continuing to live in the shadow of her past. Yelena also notices photographs of Alexei's old amateur soccer team, the Thunderbolts. When she reports back to Valentina, she is given one final assignment. She must eliminate a rogue operative hiding inside an abandoned OXE facility in the desert. Yelena agrees, hoping this really will be her last mission. But the facility is a trap. When Yelena enters the underground vault, she discovers that she is not the only operative there. John Walker, also known as U.S. Agent, and Ava Starr, better known as Ghost, have been sent to the same location. Each of them has been told that the others are the target. A fight immediately breaks out, but as the situation becomes clearer, they realize the truth. Valentina has deliberately sent them against one another because they know too much about her illegal operations. Then they discover someone else inside the vault. A confused, half-dressed man can barely remember his own name. He says it is Bob. Before the group can understand who he is, Valentina activates the facility's self-destruct sequence. The reluctant allies now have only minutes to escape. They argue over who should lead, question whether Bob can be trusted, and try to find a way out through an elevator shaft. Bob surprisingly remembers climbing techniques from a movie, giving the group a strange but useful advantage. During the escape, they begin revealing pieces of their pasts. Bob talks about his abusive childhood. Ghost explains that she spent much of her life being treated as an experiment and then as a weapon. Yelena's history is even darker. She was trained to kill from childhood in the Red Room. Just when the group is running out of options, Alexei arrives. He has overheard Valentina's kill order and comes to rescue them. After getting them to safety, Alexei gives the group a name inspired by his old soccer team: the Thunderbolts. Once they are safe, the group examines classified files Yelena managed to steal. They discover the truth about Bob. He was the subject of the Sentry Project, a secret super soldier program designed to create an incredibly powerful being by amplifying his abilities to an almost limitless level. John Walker immediately understands how dangerous that could become if Bob loses control. The team decides they have to find Bob before Valentina can turn him into a weapon. Unfortunately, Valentina is already several steps ahead. She has Bob captured and taken to the ruins of the old Avengers Tower in New York, which she has renamed the Watchtower. Her plan is simple. She wants to introduce Bob to the public as a powerful new protector and use him to save her political career. Mel repeatedly warns Valentina that Bob is psychologically unstable and unpredictable. But Valentina sees only an opportunity. She flatters Bob and tells him that he is destined for greatness. At the same time, she secretly keeps a kill switch ready in case he becomes uncontrollable. Meanwhile, Bucky has captured the Thunderbolts because he initially believes they are working for Valentina. But after questioning them, he realizes they were actually victims of her plan. Bucky joins them. Now the team has a new goal: stop Valentina and save Bob before she pushes him too far. The Thunderbolts storm the Watchtower. Valentina confidently faces them and mocks each member. She insults Bucky, calls Walker a Captain America copy, and belittles Yelena for her history as an assassin. Then she reveals her secret weapon. Bob. In front of the assembled press, Valentina presents him as Sentry, a superhero powerful enough to rival the greatest heroes on Earth. The Thunderbolts refuse to surrender. Valentina orders Bob to attack. Bob reluctantly obeys and easily overwhelms the entire team. But something is changing inside him. He begins questioning Valentina's orders. He realizes that she is trying to control him and use his power for her own benefit. Valentina becomes frightened. When she attempts to activate the kill switch and eliminate Bob, he turns against her. He grabs her by the throat and begins choking her. Mel activates an emergency device before Bob can go any further. While the chaos continues, Yelena and Alexei have a quiet conversation. Alexei finally admits that he regrets not being there for Yelena and Natasha when they needed him. Yelena admits that she has been drinking and throwing herself into dangerous work simply to avoid thinking about Natasha. Alexei reminds her of the little girl she used to be, the girl who wanted to protect her friends. For a brief moment, Yelena reconnects with the person she was before the Red Room took that life away. But then everything changes. Bob's psychological break finally becomes complete. His darker alter ego, the Void, takes control. A wave of shadowy energy spreads across the city. People are consumed by it, and the world around them falls into darkness. The Void is more than a powerful enemy. It represents Bob's deepest pain, fear, loneliness, and self-hatred. It tells the Thunderbolts that everyone is ultimately alone and that nobody can escape their own emptiness. Yelena remembers something important. Earlier, physical contact with Bob briefly pulled her into his subconscious. So she makes a dangerous decision. She allows the Void to pull her into Bob's mind. Inside his psychological world, Yelena is forced to confront her own past. She sees memories of the Red Room and the terrible things she was forced to do as a child. Instead of running from those memories, she comforts her younger self. Eventually, she finds Bob hiding inside a memory of his childhood bedroom. It is the only place in his mind where he feels safe. The room reminds Bob of a childhood dominated by an abusive father and the helplessness he felt while trying to protect his mother. The other Thunderbolts realize what Yelena is doing and follow her into Bob's mind. The Void attacks them psychologically, telling Bob that he is weak and that his attempt to become a hero was always doomed. But the team does something unexpected. They stop fighting. Instead of attacking the Void, they surround Bob and refuse to abandon him. They remind him that he is not alone. This becomes the emotional heart of the movie. The final battle is not about overpowering the villain. It is about helping someone who is drowning in his own pain. Bob finally finds the strength to take control again. The Void begins to recede. The darkness disappears from the city. The people affected by it are restored. Daylight returns, and the immediate crisis is over. Bob is still uncertain about his future, but he is no longer completely controlled by his darkest side. With the Void contained, the Thunderbolts turn their attention back to Valentina. They are ready to expose everything she has done. But Valentina has one final trick. She stages a public event and presents the very people she betrayed as a government-sanctioned superhero team. She gives them a new name, the New Avengers. Instead of exposing her immediately, the team plays along. They now understand that Valentina needs them, and that gives them leverage over her. As Valentina takes credit for creating the new team, Yelena makes it clear that the balance of power has changed. Valentina may control the public story, but she no longer controls them. The former assassins, soldiers, and damaged operatives have become something they never expected to be, a real team. Yelena has found a new family. Bucky has found a new mission. Alexei has another chance to protect his daughter. Ghost and Walker have people who understand what it means to carry a troubled past. And Bob finally understands that he does not have to face his pain alone. The movie ends with the newly named New Avengers stepping into an uncertain future. They are now public heroes, but their new position comes with secrets, political complications, and a powerful government figure they cannot fully trust. The story also makes its larger Marvel connection clear. The team may have started as a collection of people who were considered disposable, but they have become something much more important. The post-credits scene then teases an even bigger chapter. The New Avengers discover an unidentified spacecraft approaching Earth. The ship carries a familiar symbol associated with the number 4. The arrival points toward the Fantastic Four and suggests that the New Avengers story is about to become connected to a much larger threat and a much bigger part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that is the complete story of Thunderbolts 2025. What begins as a mission to eliminate a group of disposable operatives becomes a story about grief, trauma, redemption, and finding people who refuse to give up on you. Yelena's journey shows that moving forward does not mean forgetting Natasha. Bob's story shows that even overwhelming power cannot heal pain by itself. And the Thunderbolts prove that sometimes the people who seem the most broken can become the strongest team when they finally choose to stand together. If you enjoyed this movie explanation, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more movie recaps, endings, and story explanations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.